Taking Stock with Carol Massar and Michael McKee. On demand via our Bloomberg Radio Plus app. Free for iPhone and Android devices.
All right. Well, investing well and doing good at the same time. How about that? Well, that is exactly what one portfolio manager is doing. Let's talk about socially responsible investing with Fatima Iqbal. She's senior investment strategist at Azzad Asset Management, joining us on the phone from Falls Church, Virginia. Fatima, good to have you on Bloomberg Radio.
Hi, thanks for having me, Carol.
Hey, talk to us about socially responsible investing. We do talk about it a fair amount of time. What's your strategy specifically?
Sure. So at Azzad, we, of course, have a dual mission philosophy. We're focusing on socially responsible investments and also investments that follow Islamic guidelines. So what this means, it means we're steering clear of certain investments that run afoul of certain ethical principles. So for us, that means we're avoiding companies with impermissible lines of business like alcohol, pornography, weapons of mass destruction, financials, and the like.
So that's called halal investing, correct?
Exactly. So halal investing really is a subset of the socially responsible investment thesis, where basically we're using most of the other screens that SRI investors are looking for, and we're also adding a component screening out companies that have significant debt and also companies that are receiving significant revenues from interest.
All right, talk to us about performance, because I think we all want to do well and do good, I think, while we're investing, but you also want performance.
Definitely. So, one thing, especially if you take a look at these Islamic screens, we've definitely seen that these screens really have not been inhibiting performance. Similarly, we see the same trend going on in the SRI space. So if we take a look, for example, starting back in 1995 through June of 2014, of the Dow Jones Global Index, we can take a look at the Dow Jones Global Total Return Index compared to the Dow Jones Islamic Market World Total Return Index. And we don't see much difference there. The conventional Dow Jones Global Total Return Index returned 6.09%. The Dow Jones Islamic Market World Total Return Index over that same time returned about 7.6%. So the great thing is we're seeing that investors are really not having to sacrifice performance for their values.
Right. And just looking at it based on some of the Bloomberg data, your Wise Capital Fund, ticker is WISEX, 3-year performance has put you guys in the 90th or almost the 90th percentile. So you're beating most of your peers, if not nearly all of them. And the Azzad Ethical Fund, ticker is ADJEX. If I look at the 5-year performance, you're beating about 3/4 of your peers. So you are performing. It leads you to what kinds of companies, for example?
Yeah, so again, we're with our universe, of course, we're screening out certain sectors. So financials, utilities tend to get screened out. However, that means that, even when we do our screening process out of the Russell Midcap Growth Index, we're left with about 56% of the companies that we can invest in. Mm-hmm. And our process is really looking at, of course, pre-qualifying these companies, making sure they filter through this ethical process. Also looking at the market cap between 2 and 15 billion. We do a quantitative analysis looking at relative PEs, cash flow yield, relative strength, and low debt. And what we end up having is, traditionally we've kind of ended up having overweights in certain sectors since, again, we're screening out financials. And right now we have an overweight in the commercial and professional services space, which we feel are names that are leveraged when we see a pickup in employment. The recent drop in oil prices has also been beneficial to several of our names in another one of our industry overweights, which has been transportation. And we actually continue to value the healthcare sector, even though its recent run of outperformance to the broader market has had us reevaluating some of our winners.
If I look at your, let me just throw out some specific names. Our guys love to hear about specific names. Your Azzad Ethical Fund, 1 month is up almost 12% here. It includes names, your top holdings, Cura Green Mountain, Skyworks Solutions, Old Dominion Freight Line, Mead Johnson Nutrition, Foot Locker. So that plays into what you've been talking about.
Right. And again, one of the key components for us is, of course, we want to look at the quantitative analysis, but the fundamental analysis is also very important to us. The story, what is really this company doing, and how does the management understand how to create wealth? So we favor companies with quality products or services in growing industries, those with a distinctive competitive edge, quality management, and also conservative financial practices. So
right.
Keurig is one of the holdings that you mentioned. We actually initially bought this position in March of 2013. We bought it after a new CEO had issued some guidance that disappointed the street, but we continue to see a Green Mountain as a quality name that would be producing free cash flow and would also be aggressively investing in technology that would, of course, improve their market position.
Fatima, just got about 40 seconds or 30 seconds, actually. Is there any kind of ethical dilemma that if the company is doing really well in terms of performing, share price, earnings, revenues, all that good stuff, and yet there's something ethically that you're not comfortable with, will you just exit the name? Doesn't matter how well they're performing, just quickly.
Yes. So we, for our investors, their primary concern is they want to have good performance, but they don't want to compromise their values. And we feel that there are plenty of opportunities for investors to be able to achieve that. So we have had circumstances where we've had to exit a name, but again, we don't feel that that's been at a detriment to investment performance.
Going to leave it on that note. Fatima, thank you so much for your time on this Friday. Fatima Iqbal, Senior Investment Strategist at Azzad Asset Management, on the phone from Falls Church. She mentioned Keurig Green Mountain. That stock, by the way, up 105% so far this year. You are listening to Bloomberg Radio.
Taking Stock, weekdays at 2 p.m. Eastern in New York on Bloomberg 1130, in Boston on 1200 a.m. and 94.5 FM HD2, in San Francisco on 960 a.m. and 103.7 FM HD2, and Sirius XM Satellite Radio Channel 119. Copyright 2014 Bloomberg LP.